Unfortunately, what you're about to hear is real. The members of this radio program are simply not that bright, or what some people would call educated. They are merely stupid. They're not trying to offend anyone on purpose. And all have played doctors on TV. You have been warned, and are cordially invited to join the party. This is the men's room.
Forget it, man, and get with the countdown. Get with the countdown. Shake this square world and blast off for Kicksville. The trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
This is the men's room with Miles and Thrill. You know what they say, shake your radio more than 3 times, and you're playing with it. You're listening to the men's room.
And away we go. Welcome to show number 2712. Along with Steve the Thrill Hill, the Ted Smith, Robin Fox, and my cock. As you are in the men's room. On tap today, the return of Who Sucks Less? An ambulance update with what you don't need to know. Get ready to play Profile This. Plus headlines, the men's room shot of the day, fun listener emails, and everyone's favorite TV Time with Ted.
Click, clack, drink it, drunk.
All right, here we go. Facebook asks users to go ahead and send your nudes in so you won't be a victim of revenge porn. Bizarre situation in Canada as crash leads to 5 kidnapping victims wearing what they were when they were born. Ex-soccer star and surfing instructor killed by lightning while catching a wave. Survey says 250 preschoolers are suspended every day because they don't behave. And German man gets into a fight with a python in his pants. That is all coming on today's very special episode of The Men's Room.
And now, here's the question.
Hola, bitches. Good day to you and yours. All right, one thing that most of us can agree on is that people can be improvisational, we'll say, when faced with conflict. For example, a guy attempted to rob a gas station. His weapon of intimidation, his dog. Now, the stupid thing about this is he didn't even walk into the gas station with his dog. He demanded money. The cashier said no. He said, I'll be right back. I'm going to get my dog. My dog will attack you. Seriously. Then he ended up getting spooked and left his goddamn dog behind. So in the end, it didn't work out for him, but that was his weapon. Yesterday, we talked briefly about the Florida woman. So she's faced a bouncer at a bar, and she attacks him with a 12-pack of Pabst Blue Ribbon. That's right, he's about to put his hands on her. She grabs her 12-pack and cracks him with it. And then there's a guy named Donald Gaither. He's from Oklahoma. Now, when it comes to his choice of weapons, Donald, we'll call him a traditionalist. He used knives. However, when it comes to protecting himself, he's a little out there. In a recent conflict with his neighbor, Donald created body armor for himself by duct taping porn magazines to his body. It's a fantastic picture if you get the chance to see it. He says, hey, man, it's a move I learned in prison. He said he was in survival mode. Here's the thing. Conflict happens, whether it's with another human being, if you're trying to fend off an animal, and if it seems that desperate, different things can be used as weapons, different things are used as shields, maybe not their intended use. So today's question is this. Who attacked who? And with what?
Be part of the big show. Call 844-999-OLA. You can like The Men's Room on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at Men's Room Live. And send those emails to themensroom@mensroomlive.com. You are listening to the Men's Room Radio Network.
Welcome back to the men's room with Miles and Thrill.
Hold the fellas, and away we go. Welcome to show number 2712. What a completely huge show we have for you today. Return of Who Sucks Less? And we have an ambulance update coming up with what you don't need to know. We've been discussing a lot. Hey, what's the quickest way to get to the hospital if you needed to go? Because, as we know, it seems like the ambulance rides are getting more and more expensive all the time. So, and we know that's a huge expense involved, and we get it. But certain scenarios, basically, they have figured out are more apt for you to want to drive and more apt for you to want to ride in an ambulance. And this comes from a hospital who did research and a study that is incredibly reputable in people coming in an ambulance to the emergency room all the time. So that is coming up with what you don't need to know. So should I drive myself to the hospital, or should I call 911 and get an ambulance? And we'll do that right before the show of the day. Profile that's coming up. And our question today, who attacked who and with what? 844-999-OLA. I think one thing that we have definitely figured out, and it's I want to say in the last 10 to 15 years, maybe 20 years, as far as the version of assaults go that you read, if you hit anybody with anything, I don't believe that this used to necessarily be the case.
It was not
back in the day.
Maybe legally it was, but nobody got charged. If I balled up a ball of paper and threw it at your head in 7th grade and I hit you in the back of the head, no damage is done. Nothing.
Yeah.
Technically, it was assault, but no one ever got charged for anything like that.
Even if it's a spitball, whatever the deal is, if you hit somebody with something, it's going to be assault.
If you touch a cop's mustache, that is assault.
Yeah.
And we found that out when Miles begged the cop to let him touch his mustache.
I was just like, that thing is glorious. Let me touch it.
And finally, the guy's like,
assault.
listen, man, it's assault on a police officer if you touch my mustache.
Mm-hmm.
How close you get?
I didn't. Not when he told me that. You kidding me? Guy was armed.
I feel like that still, I know you. I feel like it was tough to fight.
Stopped me dead in my tracks there.
I think you were probably there longer than the cop anticipated. Anyone going through this line of questioning.
Yeah.
Knowing how you was. Come on, man.
He did not find my stylings amusing in the least.
I caught a spitball in the eye once.
See, it'd be assault.
Yeah. Hey, look, if we got in a fight at a movie theater,
took it as I was a freshman.
And I took a couple kernels I took a handful of popcorn and threw it at you, it's assault.
It's assault. Right, everything.
I mean, I could throw cotton candy, a wisp of cotton candy at you and hit you with it.
If it hits me, it's assault.
A cotton ball.
It's attempted assault if you miss.
If I throw a feather and it somehow happens to just be able to get there and touch you, it technically is assault.
But now people do time for it, man.
Yeah.
What are you in for? Throw a feather at it, dude.
No, that's not what you say. I'm in for assault.
Well, it's like this. Basically,
I assaulted someone with the feather.
Don't ask me what I'm in for. You ask me what they convicted me of.
What happens is when the S hits the fan, it is the closest thing that you have in your proximity at the time if you so choose to use something other than your fist as a weapon. Yeah. So
that's true.
You can defend yourself with it.
It could be a welcome mat. It doesn't matter, man. If there's something to grab, you're going to grab it and use it.
I mean, look, you could walk home one day and there's that big, thick-ass phone book sitting at your door, and you're like, oh, God, it's the Yellow Pages again. Like, it's huge.
And by the way, to the people that drop those off, you could do us all a favor if you just took them directly to recycling.
Sure.
Instead of dropping it off on my front porch for me to recycle for you.
Unfortunately, if someone's coming up behind you at your home and they're going to try to rob you when you walk in your door,
you got a face full of bugs.
You pick that phone book up, man. It's boom, right to the face. And finally, that thing's worth a crap. Finally, it has a practical application, and you say, thank you, phone book people. But that,
So on the off chance that you're about to be assaulted in the front of your own home, and they just dropped off this otherwise useless pile of garbage.
Now it's useful.
Yeah. So, and then you can thank them.
It's whatever you got close is what you're going to grab and you're going to hit someone with.
That was always like a big thing on The Shield, right? He was like a bad detective or whatever.
Yeah.
So, like, even cops that weren't down with him being a bad cop were like, all right, you get in there and interrogate him. And he'd bring in, like, a phone book and a razor.
Yeah.
So smack him around with that phone book.
The best one I saw was kind of a group fight that happened at a party. And the party was at the house that I lived in. The two people who got into a fight I kind of knew, but didn't know real well. But anyway, one of his friends got into the fight. So now there's like 3 or 4 guys involved in the fight. And one of the things that I loved about this house was in the back of the house, we had a pretty good-sized backyard with a fence.
Yeah.
And, of course, after drinking and everything else, it was a group of young guys. We would go back there and play wiffle ball. Now, this one guy, so we had the wiffle ball bat in the living room. The one dude grabs the wiffle ball bat, and he takes it, and he starts swinging it at this dude. And the dude's like, dude, it's a wiffle ball.
It's a wiffle ball bat.
You're not going to hurt me with a wiffle ball bat. So he starts swinging this wiffle ball bat, and the guy's just like taking it and just standing there and just staring at him. And then he just beat his ass. Like the guy hit him like 3 times the wiffle ball bat. He's like, you got to be kidding me. And then proceeded to just kill him.
Wouldn't it make more sense just to use your damn fist?
Did a wiffle ball bat, yes.
Right, like if a wiffle ball bat's the only other thing, like, don't use the wiffle ball bat.
Don't throw that wiffle ball at me. I'm going to jack that out of here.
Dude, I saw one at a, we were like in high school, but we were at a college party, right? So we're sitting on like the brick wall, like kind of before you go into a building.
Yeah.
So we're just sitting there chirping people as we're drunk as they're walking by, right? So my friend, one guy walks by with a bucket. And he goes, what's with the bucket? And he goes, I'm going to F somebody up with this. And he's like, oh, yeah? And then the dude clocked him right over the head with the bucket.
All he said was, oh, yeah?
Did it hurt?
I mean, it stunned him.
Okay.
He hit him with the bucket.
Right, yeah.
I mean, it didn't. I think it was just more fun because he hit him with the bucket. Our buddy kind of fell. We all went, oh!
Look at his head. I'm going to mess someone up with the bucket. Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Dong.
Bucket to the head.
It was that quick, dude.
And he then became a guitarist. Who attacked who? And with one, 844-999-OLA.
Hello, Josh. Welcome to the men's room.
What's going on, guys?
Hola.
Hey, so This was back in my couch surfing days, just being a good old boy. So I was staying with my buddy Ben at the time and his mother. And it was me, Ben, his brother Sebastian, and our buddy Antoine. So we're all basically living in this place. And I was trying to apply for jobs, get my act together. And one night, Sebastian, Ben's brother, goes, "Hey, man, what are you doing tomorrow?" Just all casual. I'm like, "Oh, just still applying for jobs. Going to go see what I can find." And he goes, "Okay, well, here's what's going to happen. You're going to pack up all your stuff. We're going to throw hands, and then you're going to leave." And I went, "Okay." It was just out of the blue. Like, we were homies up until this point. I really didn't understand what was going on, but I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm not wanted here for whatever reason. And so the next morning, I'm packing up my stuff, and my buddy Antoine comes in, and he goes, "Dude, what are you doing? Like, where are you going?" I'm like, "Hey, man, all I do is try to help out around here, and I'm clearly not appreciated, so I'm taking off." And that's when Sebastian just burst into the room, just steaming mad, and he's a closet meth head, just to throw that in there. Comes in, he goes, "I knew you were talking S." He's like, "I'm gonna put on my boots, and we're gonna go outside right now. We're gonna throw hands." And I'm sitting there looking at Antoine, and I go, "You got my back, right? Like, if this goes down, like," he's like, "Yeah, man, I got your back. So he comes back in. He goes, "All right, let's do this." I'm like, "Dude, I'm not going to fight you." He goes, we're doing this. Get up right now." I go, "I'm not going to fight you." So he goes, he lunges in to grab me. I get up. I'm a few inches taller than him. I bring him into the kitchen. I throw him up against the fridge, start wailing on him a little bit, and I get him down on the ground. And I go, "Hey, are we done now? Like, can I just leave in peace?" And he goes, "Now you're going to effing die." And he gets up and he goes and grabs a 12-inch kitchen knife.
Oh.
Yeah. Pulls out the kitchen knife. That's when Ben comes out in his boxers, and he's like, "What is going on?" Sees Sebastian with the kitchen knife, chokes him out up against the oven, and I threw the back sliding glass door open as fast as I could, and jumped about 2 or 3 fences. I'm running around the corners. This is all happening in Manorwood up on Puyallup, and there's there's little kids on the street waiting for the bus, and here's me, just this dude with a shaved head and steel-toed boots on, just running around, running frantically, looking in all directions to see if this psycho is chasing me down with a knife. So I make my way down this one street, and it's a cul-de-sac, so I'm trapped. And I turn around, and there he is, dude. He's looking right at me, just full sprint with this.
So he has chased you with a 12-inch knife this entire time?
No. So basically, Ben, his brother, chokes him up against the oven. I bail out the back door, hop over a few fences, make a turn around a street, and at this point, I'm out of breath, totally out of breath. I'm a smoker. I'm totally out of shape at that point. And I'm standing there, and I realize I'm at the cul-de-sac, so I'm like, okay, I need to turn around. And literally, as I turn around, he's at the end of the cul-de-sac.
So he got out of the chokehold.
He got out of the chokehold.
He still has a knife in his hand.
He still has the knife in his hand, and at this point, he is running full sprint at me. So I turn around with everything I got, and I run up to this random house. I start banging on the door, and I turn around to look, and he's running in the opposite direction. I don't know why he was running. It was the closest thing that I've ever experienced that could be considered divine intervention, like Pulp Fiction, where if through some act of a miracle.
Well, no, the divine interaction is the dude wanting to stab you in the first place, because there was nothing lucky about this. Most of us do not deal with someone who's your friend and then wants to stab you.
Did you report this incident, or did you just move out?
Oh, yeah. So, basically, that house that I knocked on, this lady's she's like, "What do you want?" And I'm like, "Hey, I'm not trying to rob you or anything. I just need to use a phone. Please, can I please just use your phone?" And I called the cops, and then the cop came and picked me up in that cul-de-sac, brought me back to Ben's house, and I'm all, I'm sitting in the cop car. They got me, handcuffed too, just in case they, for some reason I'm guilty as well, which is fine. And I'm like looking around, I'm all nervous. He's going to come out of nowhere. And I look over in the other squad car, and he's just giving me like the most evil stare I've ever seen in my life. Like, it just gives me chills.
And wait, and you have no idea why this guy determined that he hated you.
I've come to the conclusion that it must have been because I tried to be really helpful when I was living there. I tried to clean when his mom was at work and all this stuff.
Sure.
And I think he was just like, I need to get this guy out of here. He's making me look bad.
Oh, okay. All right.
And
that'd be worth stabbing.
I need brownie points with my mom.
Yeah, that's one thing, man. Like when Miles goes above and beyond at work, Ted and I always threaten him with 12-inch knives.
Yeah.
I'm just happy he didn't catch you. You can't tell somebody got stabbed by a dude named Sebastian.
Dude, well, he was like this wannabe gangster dude. They called himself Seabass.
That's even worse.
That's Seabass. I get what he did there. You see what he did?
There you go. You see that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you do now, man? What do you do now?
What's that?
What do you do now?
Oh, I'm a technician. I install large battery systems for companies like Verizon, CenturyLink.
Okay.
That kind
All
of
right.
stuff. So,
Well, that's cool.
I got my stuff together. Definitely doing pretty well.
I'm glad you didn't get stabbed.
Part is, when they let me off, I gave my statement. And I go knock on the door, and Ben, he opens up the door, is still in his boxers, and he's like yawning, like nothing even happened. And I'm like, "Hey, man." And he goes, "Hey." And I go, "Can I come in and like get my stuff?" He's like, "Yeah, dude, come on in." Like, just totally unfazed by the situation.
Yeah, well, he knows his brother.
I like that guy.
Yeah,
That's a guy you want to keep in your life, right? That's a guy who's not going to freak out with anything.
No.
Still in his boxers, like, oh, yeah, sorry, trying to stab you.
Who attacked who and with what? 844-999-OLA.
Seabass.
Hello, Mark. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
Liquor and whores all around, brother.
All right.
Liquor and whores. So who attacked
my
who?
story is, there was several I could pick from, but I'm going to give you the one that's man card worthy. My ex-wife actually attacked me. She was a little bit on the upset side. I'd left her. This was about 16, almost 17 years ago before I moved up here. We were down in San Diego. And I left her and moved in with my girlfriend that just so happened to live 2 doors down.
Oh, boy.
Jeez.
Yeah, I can see why she might be a little mad there.
Dude. Wait. So
I left her and I traveled.
Small weed words.
Yeah, I left her and I traveled 50 feet.
So it wasn't like you were getting a divorce. You actually left her?
Yeah, we were getting it. I had told her we were done. I'd moved on. She was paying my girlfriend to babysit our kids. She thought it was a phase, apparently, that I was going through. It wasn't.
You moved. Wait, hang on. You moved 2 doors down with the babysitter?
The chick was the same age as me. It wasn't like it was a kid.
No, I get that, but I'm just saying, you can't start something and go, yeah, crazy enough, the ex-wife attacked him. Yeah, you're hooking up with the babysitter that you moved in 2 doors down.
Damn. So
I know. Who knew? I threw her husband.
But you made the story. You made the story made it sound like you were so innocent in all of this at the beginning. That's the irony of it. It's like, oh, I was just leaving my wife.
she attacked me.
Yeah,
so
can you believe it? Yes, I can. Now that I know the facts.
So what was the circumstance that your ex-wife, traveled a great distance of 2 doors and attacked you?
Well, actually, I was down in our old house, and I was, picking up the last of my stuff, my computer, my router and stuff, and everything. And she came home, and she saw me packing the last of my stuff out. And she's like, "You're seriously moving, aren't you?" I'm like, "I told you I was done." She goes, "You are going to bring all your ass back right now. Period." I'm like, no, I'm not. She goes, "Yes, you are, or else." I'm like, "Or else what?" She grabbed my wallet and went to run the other end of the house with it. And I reached over her shoulder to grab it. And I thought she had a knife in her hand, but it must have been apparently it was her pinky nail. But she cut me so deep in my arm, I actually needed stitches.
Okay.
I pulled my arm back and asked her, what is she thinking? She goes, "You're going to move your stuff in right now, or else I'm calling 911. I'm like, "Do it. I'm the one bleeding." She calls 911 and says that he's hitting me. she doesn't realize that not one, not two, but three of our neighbors are standing outside watching.
I bet they were.
She rips a handful of her hair out.
Oh,
rips her shirt open and throws herself to the ground while screaming to 911 that I'm attacking her. My neighbors are looking at me like, what is wrong with this psycho?
No wonder he moved to the babysitters. Sorry, that'd have been me.
The babysitter was awesome.
Did you, did she get taken away, or did it was just,
Well, no, this was like 16 years ago, so it didn't matter what a woman did to a guy. You know, all they had to say was, well, you shouldn't have been there.
So that was it.
The neighbors are all telling them that she attacked me, she drew blood, you know, that she threw, it was a false police report. This was San Diego, it's not Washington, it wasn't quite as progressive.
Let me ask you this. Did you have any further incidents based on the fact of being 2 doors down after that?
Yeah, how much longer did you live 2 doors apart?
We moved not long after that, yes. There was a time she tried to run us all down with a car. And
what kind of car was it?
Several other incidents.
You make it sound like that's something that we can all relate to. Like the time she tried to run me down with the car,
what kind of
threw
car
herself
was
on
it?
the ground.
Do you remember
if you knew her, you would not be surprised at all. She's that nuts.
Okay. All right. Have you had any contact with her since then?
I did up until, well, even after I remarried, which was not babysitter, by the way. I married an Australian. But she was around, and even my current wife tried to be friends with her because my ex-wife and I had kids together. But this woman is so nuts that it was that bad. So we said we were moving to Arizona. She sold off everything she had, moved to Arizona to try and stalk me, but we didn't move. So she's now currently stopped living in Arizona away from us.
Oh, so she thought she was going to get the best of you and go down to Arizona to be close.
Yep, she thought she was going to stalk me down there, but I knew she only had enough money to move one way.
Okay, that's exciting stuff right there.
You're going to tell her you're moving to Arizona and then not move to Arizona just so you don't have to deal with it.
But she probably really enjoys Arizona.
I'm going to tell you this.
Yeah.
That story was entertaining. There's many things wrong with that story that we just heard, like most of it. Mm-hmm. All of it, really. But somehow I was so entertained to the whole thing. Like, wait a minute. You start banging the babysitter, and I get it, you're the same age.
Let's think of it as nanny.
She lives 2 doors away, and that's where you moved.
And it sounded like the wife was still paying the babysitter to babysit.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know, man. That everything about that story was effed up, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I really did.
And look,
that should be a children's
no violence,
story,
right? Like you shouldn't have violence, but I don't know. You moved 2 doors down.
2 doors.
I mean, you're just asking for trouble.
It's like, look, maybe you don't want to get in a fight, and if you were to say, "Hey, man, I don't want to get in a fight," the question I'd ask you is, then why did you spit in that person's face? Because moving 2 doors down, to me, it's kind of like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like this big middle finger.
Police said that Donald Gaither had an ongoing disagreement with his neighbor, Troy Bagley. Gaither reportedly thought Bagley had gotten him kicked out of the mobile home park there. Things came to a head when Gaither showed up at Bagley's home and yelled, "Come out and get some!" Gaither was reportedly holding 2 knives and 2 more secured at his waist. He also had a large weight attached to a lanyard and had created a man-made armor of sorts comprised of adult porn magazines that were taped to his body. He appears to be intoxicated somewhat. He didn't comply with the officer when he ordered him to the ground at gunpoint, and he was holding knives in both hands whenever the deputy confronted him. Gaither reportedly told deputies that he was in survival mode and had been in prison and knew what to do to protect himself, including taping porn magazines to his entire body. He reportedly had previously gone to jail for charges of assault, battery, robbery, possession of stolen property, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. He went over to attack his neighbor, but he was wearing an armor of porn magazines taped in duct tape.
If you get the chance to see the picture of it, it's actually pretty impressive what he did.
Who attacked who and with what? 844-999. Ola, more your calls coming up. You are listening to the Men's Room Radio Network.
This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill.
844-999. Ola, who attacked who and why? We head to St. Louis. A would-be robber used a dog to try to hold up a quick trip early on Monday morning, but turned tail. See what I did there? Mm-hmm. When the clerk activated the alarm. In his haste to escape, he left the dog behind. The man, who was 32, first entered the quick trip shortly after midnight, according to the sheriff's office. He tried to cash a personal check, then was turned down. He then demanded cash from the register, according to a press release. Clerk didn't hand over any money, and the would-be robber told the clerk he's going to get his dog, and that dog was going to attack him. He released it from his vehicle and into the business. By then, the clerk had activated the alarm, called 911. The man fled and left the dog behind. It appears that no one was hurt. The man was arrested later. He was eventually released as police seek warrants for stealing and fraudulent use of a credit device. The animal control took the dog. Sheriff's Department did not identify the breed of the attack dog there that didn't attack.
Why not?
Our question, who attacked who and with what? 844-999-OLA.
Attack dog that didn't. Hello, Juan. Welcome to the men's room.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Hello.
Hola.
Hello, Juan.
Oh, well.
Turn your radio down, Juan.
I don't have the radio on.
All right. How
This is every time.
Yeah,
Every time.
How does it happen that we get an echo with you, and we don't know why?
I don't know, but no, I was on a New Year's Eve party. We were partying at my friend's house, and my friend and his brother start arguing. So I step away, let them argue. It's a brother, I don't want to get involved. Next thing I turn around, and my brother's friend has my friend on the ground punching the crap out of him. So I go and take my friend, my friend's brother off of him, pick up my friend, start checking him out, see if he's okay. Then his brother hits me across the head with a chair.
And it's on. Damn.
I turn around, like, what happened? I turn around, and he swings again, but he nicked me. You know what? Miles, you'll know what I'm talking about. You know where your hairline begins?
Damn, Juan. Come on, Juan. You cut us deep, bro. How did you get our hairline in your story, man?
That was beautifully done, Juan. That was like a corner kick goal.
Damn.
That was unbelievable. Just right in the pocket there.
Juan's a dude who sticks you in the mood. You don't even know who stabbed
Hey, Juan, next time you see me, man, I'm buying you 2 beers.
And I'm drinking one of them.
Yeah, Juan, I know where the hairline is. Thank you.
That's where he nicked me the other time. And when I squared up to get him, like a cartoon, my brother just rushed him from the side. And, well, that was the end of that.
Do you have any idea what the fight was about? I mean, you took a chair to the head, man.
No, well, I don't know what they were arguing about. I didn't get involved in that. But
Juan, how old are you, man?
I'm 40.
40. When was the last time that you got into a fight? How many years ago has it been?
About 10 years ago.
Okay, that's not bad.
I would have lost that bet. I'd have guessed like within the last 3.
Last week on Friday, or 2 weeks ago, I tried to run off a guy with off the highway, off the road.
Wait, you okay? Why did you try to run someone off the road, man?
I was on a piece of equipment, and this dude, I had the flashers, I had the beacon going, I had everything. This dude comes behind me and starts honking at me, and I turn around like, what, you can go around. He starts flipping me off. I am a little bit of a hothead, so...
You don't say.
At the moment, I don't think about it, but when he went to pass me, I threw the machine on him, and he sped off, and, well, that was it for that.
Okay, all right.
Damn, Juan. Okay, man.
Don't cross Juan.
Stay cool, brother.
Good 10 years. Well,
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, I did try to run a man off the road, but that wasn't a fight.
Who attacked who and with what? 844-999-OLA.
But I don't appreciate that hairline thing, man.
I was going to say, Miles fans are violent.
I know. God damn, man. Hello, Carlos. Welcome to the midroom.
Hey, hola.
Hola.
Mine's a quick story, but I was in 6th grade, and a couple of my friends, they're like mortal enemies, man. Like, I don't know, they just hated each other. They were 2 big light-skinned dudes. You can only have so many of those in the class, I guess. But anyway, so they've been fighting. They fought forever and ever, and I guess one day they were fighting about something, and one of the guys had enough, and so you remember those chairs back in school, like where they were metal posts and had like the hard back and the hard seats and stuff?
Yeah, like plastic with the metal legs.
No, they were like ceramic or something. They were like hard seats, hard back. So he just picked that thing up. I almost cussed. But he picked that thing up and just threw it at him. And like I just remember like time stood still. And I was like watching the chair just flow in the wind, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And dude just put his arms up and, you know, it hit him and everything like that. But it didn't do too much damage to him. But yeah, they went at it after that. They started fighting. Like, dude was like, "You're not going to throw a chair at me." And started going at it. And, oh, man, it got crazy. The guy who threw the chair, he got suspended, obviously.
Yeah.
And then the other guy, he was just like, "I can't believe you did that, man. I was just joking with him, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "Oh, man, these guys are moral enemies, you know? Like, that's just the thing that happens, I guess." But
the only person who ever claims that they're joking is the person who got the worst end of things. Mm-hmm. Right? And suddenly that guy was just kidding.
Yeah. The problem when you pick up a chair is there's 3 other chairs typically. And if you ruin the one chair, then the 3 are just kind of, there's an odd man out. Like,
but do you remember those chairs he's talking about?
I think I do. Was it the big plastic, like
but
hard
not
shell?
The plastic ones. So I feel like that was probably later in our scholastic career. But when you go back to elementary school, man, so it had the same steel frame, right? But these chairs weighed a ton because, like you said, the seat itself and the backrest, they were like, some kind of like high density ceramic or something like that. They were thick and heavy, man. Yeah. I think he's saying that's the chair this dude picked up and threw at.
Okay.
And that's why he was just kidding. Just kidding.
Still to come, the return of Who Sucks Less in our question, who attacked who and with what? 844-999-OLA. 844-999-OLA. Hold the line. More of your calls coming up in just a couple seconds here.
Hola! The shenanigans continue on the Men's Room Radio Network.